Hey guys, today we'll be going over music's influence on our lives and its application in our world. We can see that music has its influence in every culture and is a part of our lives today. Unlike Ratatouille, I'm not so sure that anyone can cook, but I am sure that everyone can listen to music. For many, music is an outlet and is a part of our daily routine. We simply use it to wind down and relax, use it to get pumped up while working up, or simply use it to worship the Lord. For many of us, we know the application of music, but how many of us really know how it influences us? Well, in this speech, I'll be going over the extents of how music affects our memory, influences our mind and conduct, and 3, the Christian perspective on music's purpose and application. 1. How music affects our memory. Have you ever had that one song stuck in your head? Maybe it was from a long time ago, or maybe it was a recent song, but you just can't remember the title. I've definitely had plenty of experiences like that. And it's just crazy to think that something from so long ago or recent, like, how do we still remember that? Well, in his article, Music, Memory, and Emotion, Lutz Janke, a neuropsychologist, explains that through our semantic memory, we are able to identify familiar songs or melodies by naming the tune or by humming or whistling the following melody. He addresses that we tend to experience nostalgia from our memories, as it is evoked by hearing the particular music piece from our past. Our bouts of nostalgia are linked to our autobiographical memory back to the specific moment in our lives where we heard the song. Now, on a different aspect of memory, Stephen Demarest and his team explain that we as people acquire a considerable amount of musical knowledge without formal training. And this is a result of enculturation, which is being born and raised up in our given culture. We just receive all that knowledge from very passively. It's crazy how that works. 2. How music influences our mind. Furthermore, we discover that this seemingly simple activity has more than meets the eye in regarding to listening to music, because it is directly linked to the functions of the brain. It affects emotion, like it is controlled and generated by all these systems in the brain, neurological things, that it blows my mind. It's like, it explains here that music has also found its way in accessing and changing our brain activation through our peripheral nervous system and other routes of the brain. Thus, we can see that music, even if we listen to it passively, activates many psychological functions such as emotion, memory, attention, imagery, and so on. And all of this is located in a distributed overlapping brain network. 2. Also connected with our mind, it's how music influences our conduct. On the less scientific side, while music adds flavor and enriches our lives for the better, it can also have a negative impact on our lives. GodQuestion.org, a forum that addresses questions of life with biblical perspective, explains their take on secular music. As Christians, when it comes to a secular music, it all boils down to the content. And the content really determines whether it will undermine our faith, or it might not support it, but it might be a little bit more neutral, that we can still listen to it. And from there we choose Should we listen to it or should we cast it aside? And by using Philippians 4:8 as a guideline, we learn that it's important to filter through everything through the lens of Scripture, because whatever we fill our minds with will sooner or later influence our thoughts, words, and actions. 3. The application of music in our lives and in our world. As I previously mentioned at the beginning, music is a huge part of our lives and has various applications. The very Bible that we carry around contains many references and biblical applications regarding music from Genesis to Revelation. As Solomon once explained, there's a time for everything. There's a time for music in mourning and a time for music in celebration. And in countless other things, there is music for all different events. And in this forum, in gotquestions.org, they explained in their conclusion that the Bible doesn't forbid any particular instrument or music genre, but it does simply command that we sing to God with a gratitude in our hearts. Colossians 3:16. As Christians, music is an important asset as it is included in our worship and our praise, as well as other venues. While there are many types of music out there, not all music is wholesome or good to listen to. As Christians, we need to filter out all the noise so that we can hear God's voice. When we listen to our minds and listen to music and fill our minds with the things of this world, we're gonna reciprocate that. We're gonna act it out in our flesh. But on the end of the spectrum, if we fill our minds with music that has a message that aligns with the guidelines of Philippians 4:8, then it'll be well with our soul. And it reflects, purity is reflected in that. Synthesis and application. It's so crazy how music is so impactful in our lives and in our mind, especially. One of my favorite quotes from NF, he's a Christian rapper. In his song The Search, he quotes, "The mind is a powerful place, and what you feed it can affect you in a powerful way." End quote. This very statement can be taken in two ways. If you fill your mind with filth, you'll think filthy thoughts and eventually you'll act them out. On the other hand, when you fill your minds with wholesome things, we will reflect what is pure and clean. Finally, in the end, music gradually influences us over time, though we see how it influences us. It's so hard to comprehend that our brain affects so many I can't even speak. But yeah, it's crazy. So just as something as so seemingly small can influence something much larger, we can see this evidence in the example of Remy, the rat, going back to the intro, as he was the brain of the operation. Such a small rat influencing such a huge human in comparison size. And in the same sort of manner, music, while it might be a short clip of our day, is a huge influence over our conduct and our interaction with the world around us. As you can see, we can evidently experience the effects of music on our autobiographical memory, as well as our emotions, because it is reflected through our thoughts, feelings, speech, and actions, and these input into how we live our lives. Thank you for your time.